Hi there, I'm Laura Cook. I am recording for our 6 module assignment, and we're going to go over some questions that are part of this assignment in regards to human development. And I will send a contact list or a constructed list of references as well as where I got my information. We're going to start with the first question. The first question is, how does research on life conditions that accelerate telomere shortage illustrate the joint influences between hereditary and inherited environment and biological aging? So I'll first start off with telomeres are at the end of each structure of our DNA, and their length is depending on a hereditary source. So are genetically predisposed to have a certain length when we're born at the end of each piece of DNA. But there are things that are associated with it that can influence those things, such as hereditary diseases, biological sources. There's syndromes that can cause those telomeres to be shorter than others that appear in normal developmental stages. But the way that is illustrated through life is that certain aspects of our lifestyle can change the shortage or the premature aging of those telomeres and shortening them. Some of those factors are stress. Stress is huge related to the shortening of telomeres. Smoking and obesity, other lifestyle changes that cause inflammation can cause premature shortening of your telomeres. And that biological effect causes premature aging in an adult. So we don't want to do anything to influence that, because unless you've had some sort of study done on yourself or have had some sort of genetic testing done, you wouldn't have any idea if you have any of those predisposed issues. But the biological ones that you can control are ones that are something that you add into that influence after, such as smoking or being obese, or knowing that you're predisposed to cardiac problems. Sometimes that can be an issue as well. So those are some of the things that are different between what you would come in with a normal basis being an adult, or if you were born and had some sort of syndrome, and the environmental causes can be things that attribute to that you would have happen afterwards. Our second question is, why people are committed relationships are more likely to have more sexually active, satisfying relationships than people that don't. So if you're with a partner who you've known for quite some time, obviously there's going to be some benefits to that. And some of that is intimacy related. You in a committed relationship, you'll find more familiarity. There'd be less pressure to perform. When it comes to sexual relations, you'll feel an independence. So you might feel more comfortable with exploring more sexual comforts that you wouldn't with somebody that's a stranger, opening up to that person, or it being intimate in regards to how you would speak to that person or what type of activities you would involve yourself with, as well as emotional connection. People who have emotional connection are more sexually satisfied and often have more sex because they feel satisfied and connected to their partner. Intimacy is a huge deal in a relationship, so this is something that needs to be what you need to educate yourself about in order to have a more healthy lifestyle when it comes to sexual behaviors, as well as knowing the reason why having monogamy can be beneficial for you and your health. The third question we're going to be discussing is how experts affect information processing. So, expertise is something that we, as adults, learn along the way. We literally start to see the formulation of studies in different environments and collect information as we develop, and we start trusting those expertise. Like, you can say that you're probably an expert at brushing your teeth. You've been doing it for multiple days all of your life independently from the age of 3 on, probably. And you know where all the teeth lie in your mouth. You know any changes that happen orally and what's good for your teeth and how you should be doing so. So a repetition of practice that happens, and how effective that information is for us is that once we see the repetitive expertise come out and the knowledge that we've collected, we develop it to be a necessary for us to be more creative or to go past where we are now. We develop a skill and we socially have the need to develop further reference to it. So it's kind of a biological thing. Once you start learning, most people want to indulge themselves in finding out that expert level. Number 4, what students in college environment characteristics contribute to favorable psychological changes during the college years? Well, during the college years, you're going to do a lot of things. Independently, you're going to be finding that you are more reliable about things. You psychologically have changes that happen where you become more accountable for yourself. a sense of maturity that is in response to some of the things that you go through. Being, like I said, being accountable. No one's going to tell you to do your homework or when to be home for dinner or lunch or when you should eat or what should happen. You have to schedule all of your time in that independent fashion that causes you to become more mature and take ownership of your life. So, sort of positive self-awareness occurs, where you're at a different level of peer groups. You're not so much just a social breakdown. You all are competing for the same type of skills and levels of eventual career path. So you find this sense of awareness in your abilities, and you are accountable for some of your emotions, and it impacts your life in a different way. So you contribute to the psychological changes that happen when you're in college, but also they kind of those experiences transform you as a person, and you get a certain sense of awareness as to what your goals are, what you do like, what you don't like, preferences and relationships in society. Number 5 is going to be cultural changes that lead us to the emergency of merging of an adulthood. So lead us to the emergence of adulthood. So question number 5, what cultural changes that happen are a very big influence. This emerging adult phrase was coined by Jeffrey Jensen Arnett. He is who developed this span of life that he would consider being that emergent stage from ages 18 to 29. And the way he focuses that it was self-focused by each individual that caused those changes to occur, and that there was instability and identity exploration across all cultures that happens in this time frame from 18 to 29, where we're not really adults yet. We are technically in the physical sense, but we're in developmental growth sense. We could be in these stages of adulthood, but the psychological form is that we are relatively undeveloped unless we have experience. So this time of experience between 18 and 29 really is a time where that adult is cultivated into becoming a permanent sense of person. And then we'll roll into number 6. Number 6 is, according to Levinson, what life structures do men and women differ in. So in order to answer this question, I had to read a little bit about how his theory is that Levinson developed this theory that women and men are different based on the experiences. That's a sum of individual experience is what creates the social roles for a person. So that'd be vastly different, because if you're in a dichotomic type of relationship where maybe your whole social group is male and you're a female, that may rule out for you that you were more of the alpha female. You would take more of an assertive approach because you're with other males, and their sense of dominance might impact the way you would develop or experience things. But we're more talking about the societal priorities and events that happen to the individual. So men and women obviously take different paths. Some women get married and have children, and some men get married and have children. They can have similarities, but how they experience their roles in society as being mothers or parents or wives, husbands or fathers, that can be an impact of different things. And the psychological difference between men and women is their psychosocial changes rather than the development of due to the experiences. So they say that your experiences develop your psychosocial development, not necessarily that your brain develops and then you have these things. There's all types of outside efforts that attribute to the development of a person's psyche. Again, thank you. This is assignment for Module 6, and I hope you have a good day. Great.